Today is an exciting news day in the world of Magic the Gathering. Not only do we get to talk about Kamigawa Platinum and Silver editions, but on top of that, and more excitingly, we get to talk about Dominaria Remastered.
Magic. I am a wizard! History. I'm an old wizard! The Magic Historian. My bones hurt.
Greetings, owners of fine luxury cardboard rectangles. My friends, I hope the day finds you well because we have gathered for yet another installment of Mega Magic News. So, the main items on today's agenda are going to be the Kamigawa Neon Dynasty Platinum and Silver editions, and more excitingly, like I said, Dominaria Remastered, which I am super hyped for the concept of. Since we're going to be talking about Dominaria and all that goodness, I do just want to point out that the best storyline in all of Magic the Gathering is the Brothers War storyline involving Dominaria and following Urza. And I am covering that storyline over on my Magic the Gathering lore channel, Fantasy Geographic. So, if you want to be in the know what's going on with the storyline, I'm going to leave a link to that series, the first video, up on the screen at the end of this video, and a link down in the comments, all right? Because I'm super hyped about Dominaria, all that jazz. Now, first of all, before we do the Dominaria Remastered conversation, because I'm vibrating about that part, let us dive into the Kamigawa Platinum and Silver editions, okay? So basically, what I'm going to do right now is I'm actually going to put up on the screen the image that was used to kind of advertise what's going on here. So you can see that this is very, very pink, right? It says Kamigawa Neon Dynasty Platinum Edition, prepare yourself. And it shows a samurai on the one side of the card, also with a very pink motif, looking very intricate and artistic. I enjoy this artwork, and it kind of actually doesn't feel like what I was expecting from Kamigawa Neon Dynasty. I was actually expecting far more like futuristic cyber sort of stuff. Now, I ultimately don't know if this is actually emblematic of the artwork that will appear in Kamigawa Neon Dynasty, because the Platinum editions and Silver editions are something that are done through a company that is called Beetle and Grimm's. And as far as I understand it, Beetle and Grimm's is like basically a group of gaming fanboys who got together and made their own company, and now they produce different things. So I was looking over some of the stuff they've made. For example, they made like a special Platinum edition of the Waterdeep Dungeons and Dragons role-playing books. So it's actually not quite clear yet exactly what we should be expecting from this. I don't know if the Platinum and Silver editions are going to be like variations of genuine actual Magic cards. I don't know if it's going to turn out that they're going to be actual like Dungeons and Dragons books when they decide to do a Kamigawa Neon Dynasty setting, right? Because we've seen that a lot in recent times with Strixhaven and other worlds that they've developed like Ravnica and stuff, where they create full-on Dungeons and Dragons books for it. So it's entirely possible that this Kamigawa Platinum Silver stuff specifically has to do either with D&D, it could be some kind of Magic art book. I feel like the chances of it being actual Magic cards are very low. It feels like in recent times that Wizards of the Coast has really branched out in terms of the little side things. Like the Dungeons and Dragons set had those little Pinfinity pins and things like that. And I have to admit, I'm a sucker for all the miscellaneous stuff that happens to kind of gravitate around Magic, all these side kind of products. So I'm excited to see what's coming, and I like this piece of artwork. So let us move on to the next item on the list, which is Dominaria Remastered. I am super stoked about this concept. So first of all, how do we know that Dominaria Remastered is coming? Well, that's pretty simple. There are people out there, if you didn't know this already, there are people who crawl over every inch of what Wizards of the Coast is doing, right down to the point where they will check out domain names that have been registered, trying to see if they can figure out different products or what's going to go on. And sometimes this information comes out really, really early in comparison to when we find out about it. So for example, that's how we found out that there was going to be a Secret Lair subscription service. In fact, that was pretty much how we found out about Secret Lair in the first place altogether, was through this domain registration, because it's impossible for Wizards of the Coast to avoid this step of the process. If you don't really get what I mean when I'm saying domain registration, here's what happens. Wizards of the Coast decides their product lineup, right? These are the products we're going to be making for the next 2 years or whatever. Now, we need to own all of the websites that are officially associated with this product, right? It's actually similar to what happens with television shows and stuff like that. If a TV show mentions a website, then you know what I mean? If somebody just makes up, hey, I own hotdoghuggers.com or whatever, then the television network literally buys that website address so that nobody else can have something where essentially they're advertising for them. Or even worse, let's say you go to that website and the kind of hugging they're doing ain't the kind of hugging you want to see. You know what I mean? So it's all right, we got this kind of a scenario where something that's really just meant to be I love to eat the food hot dogs has been turned into something nefarious, right? So you've got the same situation with Wizards of the Coast where they don't want to come up with a new product, release it, but it turns out somebody else has the website. Imagine if you had the website KamigawaNeonDynasty.com or whatever, right? Then Wizards of the Coast is going to have some egg on their face where you end up with a scenario where they're oh, KamigawaNeonDynasty.com, and you go to it and you're whoa, what? This is a website selling belts and shoes, and everything's not even spelled right. I think this is a scam site. So to avoid all that, they register these domain names far in advance. So that's where the Dominaria Remastered was ferreted out from. It has been discovered as a domain registration, a website name, essentially, right? So basically, there's a number of different interpretations that you can take with this. You can go, okay, what are we familiar with as a remastered set, right? We had the Time Spiral remastered set previously, but you run into a bit of a speed bump with this remastered concept in terms of just trying to take a particular set or block and go cram it in. Here's Dominaria Remastered, because Dominaria is literally the home setting for so many Magic sets, right? From the beginning of Magic, Dominaria is where almost everything happened. Dominaria is actually the most important plane in Magic the Gathering. It is the nexus. It used to be called Dominia Prime, and it's literally the center of the multiverse. The entirety of the multiverse hinges on it, and that's why the time experiments that happened there caused such big problems. But either way, you've got Dominaria as the central location, and we have had dozens of sets set on Dominaria. So unlike Time Spiral Remastered, where you just go, okay, take the 3 sets from the Time Spiral block, remaster them, you can't really remaster Dominaria the same way. So this could theoretically be a showcase of cards from all throughout Dominaria's history, right? All the different sets that happened there. You know, you got your invasion block, you got your Urza block, you got all the sets that came before that, you got more that come after it as well. It goes on and on and on, which makes for epic lore over on my lore channel, by the way. But anyhow, the situation is one where Dominaria can't just be a single block remastered. But what's happening at the end of 2022? Well, we've got 2 Dominaria themed sets, right? So you've got Dominaria United, right? Which is the first of the Dominaria sets we're going to be getting at the end of the year. And then the final set in 2022 is going to be the Brothers War, which I am over the moon about. I'm so stoked about it. That's why we're doing the Brothers War lore. But anyways, you've got these 2 sets set on Dominaria, and I fully expect that Dominaria United is going to be Teferi finally bringing his homeland of Zalfir back to Dominaria. If you're not familiar with the ancient history of Magic, basically Teferi, trying to help his homeland or whatever, accidentally trapped it in a temporal rift and separated it from all of Dominaria. And he's just trying to figure out a way to bring it back and he has been forever. And he just recently learned from Ren a new way to undo magic, and he's now also studying the Moon Silver Key and its temporal magic properties. So I'm fully expecting that Teferi is going to bring Zhalfir back, and then all of Dominaria is going to be united against the Phyrexians, because the Phyrexians are mentioned specifically by Teferi at the end of the Crimson Vow story, right? So I fully expect we're going to Dominaria, there's going to be a big Phyrexian threat, Dominaria will be united against that threat, and Zhalfir will be returned. I really hope that'd be so cool if he's able to bring his homeland back. But even if he doesn't, Dominaria United is going to be Dominaria versus the Phyrexians, which really does have that old school feel. And then the Brothers' War will be trying to recapture the magic of the very beginning of that storyline, and I hope they do well. But what's coming out in about a month from now, right? What is it? A little over a month from now? We've got Double Feature. And Double Feature is both of the Innistrad sets crammed together into one set, right? And so I said previously that I fully expect that Wizards of the Coast will do this again, because if you look at it from Wizards of the Coast perspective, originally they were going to release Innistrad as one set. Then they decided to break it down into two sets. So they were able to release both these sets. Then afterwards, the Double Feature is both the two sets put together and essentially being sold again. So Wizards found a way to take one set, split it into two, and sell it 3 times in total. So that's good business for them overall if it works. This is sort of a tester foray into the concept, right? We have to see how the market responds to it. How do these boxes sell? I expect they're going to sell really well, in all honesty, because you get 2 rares and a foil per pack, and they are going to be really, really limited edition. Talking to my buddy who runs an LGS, he told me, like, hey, the distribution on these is incredibly low. So Wizards of the Coast tends to reiterate upon things. They tend to keep doing the same things as long as they're working, and most of the time trying something once isn't enough to really establish whether it works fully. So I am expecting that Dominaria Remastered will actually be the same concept as Double Feature, where it's going to take all the cards from the Brothers' War, it's going to take all the cards from Dominaria United, and it's going to cram them together into this big old smorgasbord of everything. Now the question becomes, what are they going to do to make it distinct if they go that way, right? And by that I mean the Innistrad Double Feature differentiates itself from the previous 2 Innistrad sets by being black and white, right? It's like grayscale or whatever. What they're trying to do is they're trying to evoke the horror monster movie kind of concept, which is cool. Ultimately, the idea that they have black and white with the Double Feature and like starring or like whatever, now showing, whatever it was, they give it like that movie feel, and I really like the flavor of it. But they're not going to be able to do that with Dominaria Remastered, right? You're not going to go, okay, we did it in black and white with silver screen foils, and you just go, wait, why would you take these old Dominarian cards and turn them into that? That doesn't make sense. So what would they do as like the special styling for this particular set? Well, my estimation is you look at it overall, and what are they doing with this Dominaria? Like, ultimately, what are they doing with the Brothers' War? They are tapping into our nostalgia, right? Wizards of the Coast has noticed, at least more lately, that they can totally dive into our nostalgia for some extra bucks, right? So that's why we're going back to the Brothers' War, and don't get me wrong, I love it. I'm not complaining about that. Yes, please, fan service me with the nostalgia goodness. I'm 100% on board with that. So how do you pick a special styling that's also going to tie into the nostalgic nature of it and really like hit it home for us old school players? I think the answer is really simple. All you have to do is look at Modern Horizons, and more specifically Modern Horizons 2. We have seen that there is most assuredly a genuine demand for new cards, but with the old school borders, right? Like, think about old school border Urza. They made Urza in the first Modern Horizons, and in the second Modern Horizons, they're like, yo, you can get old school bordered Urzas in this one. And people went, oh, wait a minute, right? So they can go old school border. I mean, they could go even crazier and give it old school like wording and language as well, but I think that would probably be too clunky and too much work, because I feel like these like double feature remaster sets are really meant to be done quickly to grab some extra money. You know, slap a grayscale filter on it, boom, we're done. So I feel like having the old school borders hits the same note of easy for Wizards to do, ties in with the theme, and it, for anybody who was already collecting the Brothers War and Dominaria United, if you're somebody who likes old school borders, boom, you're going to be right back for more, right? So my main guess for Dominaria Remastered is that it is going to be the double feature-esque set, and it will come out at the very beginning of 2023. So expect to see it at the end of January 2023. Although admittedly, there are other potential scenarios where Dominaria Remastered could be, let's say, an MTGO digital only set, or it could be like an arena set, but I don't think that when they're doing something like that, that's not a physical set that they're selling, I don't think they actually register domains for it. I'm not 100% on that, so I can't say for certain. And the other thing I wanted to mention, on a side note here, is when it comes to the Extra Life Secret Lair, the one that was drawn by the kids and everything, apparently the bonus card from it is rumored to be questing Feldegriff. We've seen like a fraction of the card with the casting cost and part of the name, so it's probably questing Feldegriff. Anyhow, that wraps up this edition of Mega Magic News. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Big thank you to all my patrons, and on the screen you will see the lore video for the Brothers War. Go check it out. It's awesome. See you later.